Welcome to Link G4x Training Part 48. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at working with our virtual aux outputs and our timer feature within our PCLink software. Now, our virtual outputs are going to be allowing us to take multiple different conditions that we have within our software and being able to put them together so that they turn on a virtual output, and then we can use that virtual output to turn on some kind of a feature or function. So I'm going to show you a couple of different examples here within this training tutorial. We're also going to find we have a timer feature. We can have things based on a timer that turns on based on a virtual aux channel. I'm going to show you how to set them up and some implementations of a timer that you can integrate into your calibration strategy. We're going to have a lot to learn, so let's jump into this video so we can check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our virtual outputs and our timer features within our PCLink software. The virtual outputs can allow us to take multiple different channels within our Link G4x systems and pair them together so that we can turn something on or off virtually within the software without actually wiring in an external switch. So we're going to take a look at a few examples here so it makes a bit more sense of what we're trying to accomplish and how we can implement our virtual outputs. We're also going to be taking a look at using our timers. The timers can be implemented for doing some kind of a compensation for fuel and ignition, or even something like boost control. So the timers are going to be a separate topic here, but they are going to be integrating and could potentially integrate into a virtual output depending how we configure things and set things up. The first thing we're going to do here is jump into our dedicated page layout for looking at our virtual output and timers. If we go here into our layout, we'll go all the way to the bottom here under virtual math. We're going to find within our window here, we have our timers at the top, and then we have our virtual outputs here at the bottom. Now we've already covered math blocks in a separate video, so now we're going to be taking a look at the additional things within our screen here. Now the virtual outputs we can find right here, the virtual aux 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're able to program them. Now the way that the G4x system handles virtual outputs within the PCLink software programming is completely different than the way it was implemented in the G4 Plus systems in the PCLink software. So if you're coming from a G4 Plus system and you're familiar with setting up our virtual outputs, it is going to be handled here differently within our G4X systems. So the very first thing we have to do in order to work with a virtual output, and that's what we're going to be covering here first, taking a look at just our virtual outputs. We're going to find here in our box, if we have our function, we see virtual output, we can go here, we can do off, test, or on-off. Now if we want to go and activate a virtual output, we're going to be using off-on feature here. That's going to be actually activating it. Test on is just going to be testing it to make sure that the feature works. So that's the first step. We'll click OK. Now in our G4 Plus systems, when we would want to use a virtual output, we'd have as soon as we go and turn the function on, we'd have a drop down that we could set the conditions in order for that virtual output to turn itself on within the software. Now we're not going to find that within the window here. We just turn it on or off. We need to go and pair the virtual output here into one of our general purpose outputs. This is going to be the difference between our G4 Plus and G4X systems. So now in a G4, the G4X system here, so the general purpose output, we have to go in and tie this in virtually, so to speak, to the virtual aux 1. So the output here, as we find, it's going to be set on output. We're going to be going here and we're going to be pairing it to virtual aux 1. So we're going to be saying we want to turn our virtual aux 1 on, and then we're going to be using our general purpose output as a virtual aux. So we'll click OK. Now we have multiple different conditions that we can configure here in order to make this work. So this is going to be then essentially the similar programming language to the G4 Plus systems, where we would go and assign all of these conditions within just our virtual window for the aux here. And in this case, we're just tying it into a general purpose output. So in the first example here, I want to go and just talk about using a water meth system. So we're going to be assuming we're using water meth. It could even be nitrous, but let's just assume we're doing water meth. And we're going to be having a digital input, an arming toggle switch on. So when we turn that on, that designates that we're going to be spraying the water meth controller and that the link is going to know that we've armed it, so to speak. This is the same idea as a nitrous arming switch. So we're going to have that as a condition. And we know when we spray our water meth, we're going to be spraying in boost and when we're essentially at higher throttle angles. So we don't necessarily have to worry about spraying our water meth in vacuum. In fact, we don't want to do that because it can definitely cause a power loss and cause drivability problems. So we're only interested in spraying water meth when we're in boost. Now we can use a virtual output here to be able to turn on our 4 or 5D fuel and ignition timing tables based on what we're finding our condition in here. But we need to go and program the actual turn on conditions in order to make this work. Let's just keep this simple. Let's just assume that we're wiring a digital input in. The digital switch is going to be, again, the meth turn on. And then thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.